Great. Okay, so we'll get started then, and maybe you could tell me about what the purpose of this deliverable is.
The purpose of this deliverable is a preparatory work on which other work packages can rely on. Also some let me start again.
Sure.
The 1, 2, 3. The purpose of this deliverable is preparatory work on which other work packages can rely, and also other researchers in computational literary studies while working either on their new infrastructure or their own projects. Just as we drew on Deliverable 4.1, this measuring discrepancies between the curricula of summer schools and user needs, and on Deliverable 3.1, which measured the popularity of tools and formats for computational literary research. Interestingly enough, according to Deliverable 4.1, the greatest gap between supply and demand in this market of knowledge is between once again, interestingly enough, the biggest gap opens between supply and demand regarding the theory of literary corpora, or textual corpora, and that was our main task, to provide the reader with an overview of research data landscape, i.e. of literary text collection available online, now ready to use for everybody to grasp, so as to enhance intellectual access to resources according to different principles, making the text findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So our review has a descriptive character. I mean, it's just one side of the coin. We cooperate with work package 6. They're preparing, or we're preparing together, a spreadsheet or a table with a list of resources and formats and languages in which they are, as well as a transformation toolbox for data formats. So let's say our part was more descriptive and theoretical. There is more technical, and it simply lists all the resources which we described, and more, of course, than we're able to describe. And our addressee was, on the one hand, a colleague from the project, CLS INFRA, and on the other hand, a literary scholar looking for resources so as to conduct her or his own research. And basically, we tried to answer 3 questions: what resources are available, what resources are out there, what resources are eligible for computational literary studies, what does it mean to be a text, what does it mean to be a collection, what does it mean to be literary in the context of computational literary studies. And the third question was how the resources are organized. We proposed a typology of corpora according to purposes which they serve. Plus, we also described some best practices regarding corpus architecture and covered some questions relating to metadata and as well as ways in which information can be retrieved from those collections we described. We also we also described some legal and ethical issues concerning using or reusing literary text collections. And because this field of available literary resources is so vast already at this moment, we tried to reduce its complexity by relating those most general questions to two use cases, two polarly different use cases, one concerning modernist haiku in different European languages, Russian, Polish, German, and so on, and the other case regarding the Slovak novel, which was not covered by the European literary text collection. Yeah, that would be the answer to your first question.
Thank you. And I suppose taking all of that into account then, what do you envision the results of this deliverable then will have on the field of CLS and digital humanities more widely?
I guess this deliverable is supposed to fill the gap identified not only in Deliverable 4.1, but also, for example, Michal Mrulgaski, a Swiss scholar, who said, I am paraphrasing, taken the fact that the differential specific of the digital humanities consists in their reliance on machine readable corpora, surprisingly little attention is devoted to the theory of the corpora, to the theory of corpora, or to their architecture, how they are supposed to be built in order to render some reliable results. So that was the gap which we were trying to fill, and we wanted to theoretically frame the existing resources in order to enhance their findability and accessibility, as well as to facilitate the assessments of the resources and the creation of new high-quality resources which can then be used in researchers' own research and reused by other researchers in this vein of open humanities, of open data. Also, we think our deliverable, our catalog and our description of these resources can be useful for the development of multi-language NLP pipelines on which other work packages in our project work, because they all need a high-grade textual basis to test and refine their procedures. So I guess they can now decide for the best quality text collection on which to test their pipelines and their tools.
Great.
That's it.
And what do you think the most significant thing is that you found out throughout this process?
I think the most significant and lasting results of, I think the most significant and lasting result of this deliverable will be the typology of literary text collections, which we proposed in chapter 4, the typology according to their purpose. Again, this typology, which we also use in the table prepared by work package 6, can be something which sticks with computational literary studies when they try to theorize corpora. And I also think that those use cases we use to reduce complexity and to really concentrate on some concrete research questions can develop into full-fledged research projects in their own right. So I think this also can be something interesting both for the students of modernism and for Slavic students, comparative literature, and also for computational literary studies as well.
Great. That's fantastic. I'm just going to stop the recording.